Hi everyone, I'm Doc.
I'm Indigo Moon.
And today we are on the road to Topeka, Kansas, getting ready to set up for the Spirit Mind Body Fair for Saturday and Sunday this weekend. So if you have an opportunity and you're listening and watching this from Topeka, come to the fair, look us up, say hi.
Not even if you're from Topeka.
Yeah, anywhere.
Kansas City.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
By all means, stop in and see us. We'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to have you not only subscribe but share what you've watched on YouTube. So today we're going to talk about the Akashic Record, right?
The Akashic Record,
right.
And how it ties into past lives. This will be a couple of different video series. It's not going to be all done in one. We're going to try doing shorter videos for you all, and maybe doing a little more content over several videos.
Yep, definitely. So, to you, Indigo, what is the Akashic Records? The Akasha?
The Akashic Record is the record of everything that has happened in the entire universe over all time, past, present, and future.
Okay. And I believe that with the Akashic Records, there's a record of every soul's journey, like you say, past, present, and future. So if someone is able to access those records, what are they likely to find?
Well, depending on what it is they're looking for, they're able to find anything, any piece of information, anything that has happened is recorded. It's just like this video. You can see every little movement, every little sound, smell. It's all recorded there. It's not a paper library like most libraries, or a digital library like we have today. It's just energy.
Just energy.
And if you know how to read the energy, it's kind of like reading computer code. If you know the zeros and the ones, putting them together in a string, you know what it is that it's saying.
I see. But you know, typically people think of the Akashic Records as being a library of sorts. I think that's one of the ways that it has originally been presented to the public.
Well, wasn't that kind of the theory of the Library of Alexandria?
I think so. I think
because that was just human history.
Human history.
Yeah.
But you have to kind of wonder sometimes if the Akashic Records, the Hall of Records, wasn't a prototype, if you will, of what we do here on Earth in the physical and the different libraries that we have today.
Well, I've had several dreams about the Akashic Records. Actually going there, being there, getting information. Both times it looked to me, and it came to me as a dilapidated filing system. It went on forever and ever and ever with these shelves and old cases, and nothing was, it was kind of going into an antique store.
Okay.
Nothing, everything was organized, but it was very old. Nothing matched.
Yeah.
But that was my library.
Yeah.
You know, my experience.
My experience is just a little bit different. I have always seen the Hall of Records, if you will, as this marble floors, marble columns, beautiful. It's very brilliantly lit. And when I go, I ask the scribe or whoever, librarian, or whoever's there, this is what I want to access. He goes and he finds a book, brings it out, and it's a large tome. It's a huge book. It takes 2 hands just to turn the pages, and he turns to the page that I want, and I'm allowed to read it, and then when I'm done, he puts it back. So it's interesting how our...
Well, and mine, when I go, I am met by what I'm assuming is a keeper. But he always tells me that I have to find the information that I'm looking for.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
that's very,
and
very
that I'm
interesting.
capable of finding the information, that I don't need his help. And it's interesting because when I go to look for something, all I have to do is think about it, and I'm right in front of whatever stack that I need.
I see.
And so then I can just go through that, find exactly what it is that I need, look at it, read it, and then I'm back.
Well, you know, now that I've gotten a bit more accomplished at the Akashic Records, I'm a little bit like you. I can think about it, and when I go there, the book's already sitting there, and I can access that information.
Mm-hmm.
So,
now let me ask you this: do you think everybody has access to the Akashic Record?
I think everybody who has the ability and the interest to access it can do it if they do it properly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. But do you agree also that you may not be allowed to access your own records?
You know, my personal feeling is that if you are wanting to access information about your life, and if it interferes with the lesson that your soul is here to learn, you're not going to be allowed to access that information.
Okay. Give me an example, because I kind of think differently about that.
Let's say, for instance, I want to find out if I'm going to be wealthy in this lifetime. But one of my primary lessons as a soul is to understand money, understand wealth, what it means to be wealthy, what it means to have it, share it, so on and so forth. If I'm not learning that lesson, they may not allow me to see whether or not I'm going to be wealthy in the remainder of my lifetime.
I'm sorry, everybody. I had COVID about 6 weeks ago, and I'm still somewhat trying to recover here. They say the cough lasts forever, so sorry if I cough.
Not a problem.
Yeah, I think that if you are a more mature soul, that you do have access to those records, not necessarily your own. And I think sometimes it's because we put ego into it too.
Oh yes, oh yes.
So you're not reading those records, maybe. It's kind of like reading your own tarot cards.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to put your own spin on it, or even somebody who's just simply recording history in human form.
Yeah.
They're going to put their own spin on it, their own perspective on it. So I do think for some of that, you may not want to go into the Akashic to read your own because of that.
Or, and another example would be if you're trying to bypass some karma that you're here to fulfill and work through, then you're not going to be given that opportunity to look at the Akashic Records. They're just going to simply tell you no.
But I also think that if you're not an accomplished soul, a higher soul, that you're not going to be able to read that Akashic simply because of an experience, for one. But then you don't need to know that information.
I agree with that. There comes a point in time when we have to do the work first, and once we have, it's kind of like learning mathematics in grade school. They're not going to teach you college level mathematics in grade school. You haven't gone through the work and created that spiritual foundation, if you will. Now, one of the things that I find interesting is that, from my perspective as a past life reader, I believe that when I look at someone's past life, I am in fact accessing their Akashic Records, but I'm only looking at one aspect of it.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I disagree with you on that, because I've had a past life reading from you, and yours is very three-dimensional. So
it can be. Yes.
when I go into the Akashic, I'm only getting what I would consider a written version of your life.
Okay. All right.
If I do, you actually get a picture, a movie. You walk side by side with them.
That is true. However, I don't access the information such as what is my health going to be, or an individual's health going to be for the remainder of their life, or their financial situation, or their relationship issues. I don't see that unless we specifically go in deeper into past lives to see where something got started. An issue might have gotten started that they're experiencing in the present life. So for me, the accessing past lives is just one little aspect of the Akashic Records. But that's my take on it.
Yeah, see, and the difference for me, because I've been asked what's the difference between past lives and the Akashic, is that if I am just accessing a past life, if I'm just simply looking to see what they were, I see a picture or a movie, and then I can assess where they're at by their dress and the buildings and the background and stuff like that. Whereas if I am going deeper and I'm actually getting a life lesson, a soul lesson, then I go to the Akashic. And so for me, it's the difference between a movie reel or a picture versus written.
I see. I see. All right. Yeah. Well, I think for me, the way I interpret the written aspect of it, it comes to me as a movie. But we all have to, again, as you said earlier, the Akashic Records is essentially all energy.
It's all energy. And
it's all energy.
Yeah, and so we can make it whatever it is that we need to make it.
It makes more sense to me to see it as a movie. For you, it's a little different.
Yeah.
So there is no, I don't think that there is no one way to access the records and to view them.
No, everybody like in your own dream state, you make it what you want. Your brain makes it what you want. You may not have any control, but your brain definitely makes it what it wants, and that's all energy too. And so, you know, I think we each have our own access to it, our own way of getting there and looking at the information, and it's simply how you view and want to get the information. So
now, how do you go about accessing the Akashic Records?
It's simply a thought.
It's a thought.
It's just a thought. I need this information, and I go to that library.
I see.
Yeah, I don't have to, you know, meditate or go into the etheric. It's simply a thought for me. This is what I need.
See, for me, it's a little bit more. It's a little more difficult for me. I have to go into meditation, then I have to ask for that information, and then I can access it that way.
That's interesting.
So everybody does it a little bit differently. I don't think that there is specifically one way that it has to be done. I know.
I will say I do access it a lot in my dreams.
Ah, okay.
So I'll go to bed and ask a question, or we'll take, for instance, what's happening right now with Ukraine. What is going to happen? What's supposed to be the outcome? What's the next step? Whatever. At night, then I will go up into the Akashic and look through the files. Now, I may not get the whole answer because, as with anything, they're redacted. Okay.
That question. Yes.
Yeah. And so you don't get the whole answer, but you'll get enough to maybe satisfy your curiosity.
And the reality is, we may not be personally ready for the whole answer.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that movie with A Few Good Men with Tom Cruise, and the general says you can't handle the truth.
Yeah.
And it's not that it's being refused us. We're not ready to accept.
We're just not ready.
We're not ready yet.
And we're not meant to know.
And sometimes we're just not meant to know.
Yeah.
And that's the way it is with spirit. It's you know, we have a client who's talking about the pendulum, and the reality is he's trying so hard that he's blocking his own information. And it could very well be that that's not the tool for him.
Well, I don't know about you, but I've had many clients that I've just seriously had to say, you are not ready for the answer.
Yes.
And it's not that I'm trying to drum up more business. It's just that they aren't ready. Their soul's not ready. They haven't learned the lesson, and they need to see it to completion. So
I know very early in my journey, there was many times when I was refused information simply because I was trying to bypass a certain lesson. And your spirit guides know exactly what you're here for.
That's right.
What you're meant to do. And if you're not ready for that information, you're going to use it to your advantage to avoid something. They're not going to give it to you.
All right, guys, with that, we're going to end our video. We will talk about this again. Probably in a few minutes, actually. So the videos are probably back to back, because when we get to Topeka, we're going to have a little bit of time. We're going to do another video. But until then, we'll see ya.
Take
Bye.
care.